what we're looking at in this section is studio recording. And what I mean by studio recording is a face-on camera. So this is useful for sales videos, for introducing yourself. It's also good for testimonials, things like that. We don't always do a lot of studio recording, but it can be very effective, especially to get your viewers to know you and know your face. A lot of them will know your voice, but they won't always know your face. So this is very good to instill that trust in them. You know, if they can see your face, if it looks like that you are talking to them, then they usually place more trust in that. So as far as studio recordings go, you have face-on interaction. It's super easy to do, and it's great for short intros. And like I mentioned before, it instills that trust in viewer. I would not recommend using studio recordings for super long, 15-minute videos because they're more difficult to edit. So if you trip over your words a lot and you require some editing, some post-editing, then I don't recommend studio recording because you'll get a couple of jump cuts in there. And what I mean by jump cut is whenever you're watching a video and then there's an obvious edit, over a fraction of a second their head will pop a different direction or whatever. That's what a jump cut is. A few disadvantages and cons of studio recording is, you are on camera. It's like I mentioned before, it's harder to edit. You can't start and stop. You essentially have to do the pitch or whatever you're doing full on. So if you're making a longer video, I recommend splitting it up, maybe a screen recording and a studio recording. So maybe you come on, you do an intro, then you switch to the screen recording and go through, some information. Then you come back on to do the pitch, and then you present a little bit more information, and then you come back on to do the outro or the conclusion. So that's a great way to split it up. That makes it easier to edit. Then you're only on camera for, a couple of seconds, maybe 30 seconds at the most. So you can start over, if you mess something up, whatever it may be, it makes it easier to do it that way, and you still get that trust. So studio recording also requires a little bit of hardware. Macs come with a webcam built in. Most Windows computers, especially laptops, are coming built with a webcam installed. Most of them are HD, but not all of them are. And studio recordings can be intimidating. They don't have to be, but they seem to be intimidating. So as far as studio recording goes, what you need is a good quality camera. And it needs to be able to record at least 720p. Which again, that is 720 pixels tall. You also need a good quality mic, and you're probably already going to have this from your screen recording. Most of the built-in mics on your PCs are not going to be very good quality. If you just record a minute and go back and listen to it and see how it sounds. A lot of time it's tinny. You sound like you're in the bottom of a well. Mac has a little bit better microphone in the newer Macs, but I recommend, even if it's just putting on the headphones that come with the Macs and the iPads and the iPhones, those have a good mic in there. Obviously, they're not as good as a USB powered mic, or your old school XLR microphone, but that's going to give you better quality than the built-in microphone. And you can get a good quality microphone pretty inexpensively. Amazon is usually my favorite place to go to look for things like that. If you want to, go test them out, you can go get your hands on them at Best Buy. And then what I end up doing is I usually end up ordering it on Amazon. A lot of people prefer the headset microphone. So you have, two headphones built into it, and then you have a microphone that comes down the side. And I'll show you one that I have here in just a second. But you can also do a standard USB, on a mic stand. You've probably seen mine. I am a voice guy. I did radio for a long time, and I do some voice work and things like that. So I prefer, a better quality microphone. It gives me a little bit better sound, and I'm used to a mic stand. I have a boom mic stand, and it allows me to move it back and forth and things like that. So that's just kind of how I do it. You are more than welcome to do it however you see fit. As far as webcams go, they're pretty cheap and easy to find online, and I'll kind of show you a few of my recommendations here in just a second. You can also use your iPhone and your iPad if you want. A lot of those, especially if you have an iPhone 5 or an iPad mini or one of the new iPads, either 3 or 4, they're going to record in really good video. So you can actually use those to do your studio recording and then bring them back on your Mac or your PC and edit them and add them to the rest of your presentation. As far as my recommendations go, I'm going to recommend that you do a pre-written script or at least an outline. If it's only 30 seconds, I recommend that you pull up your script on your computer screen and do it in front of your computer screen, or however you prefer to do it. Make it something that you can look at and talk to, but they can't see that you're reading a script. So you want it to sound natural. You don't want it to sound rehearsed. And you want to get yourself camera ready. If you're going to go on camera, you want to make sure that your hair's done. If you wear makeup, your makeup's on, all that kind of stuff. You don't have to go over the top here because we're not going into a TV studio with all the lights and things like that. But, you just want to make sure that you look halfway decent. Your hair's done. It's not all crazy. And you want to be yourself. If you use your hands, I use my hands all the time. I always talk with my hands. Speak the way that you speak. I'm from the South, so I use the word y'all. Y'all probably hear it a lot. That's just me, and the people that are watching you appreciate that. If they don't, then they're probably not going to buy from you anyway. But, you want to convey who you are. That's the main idea of a studio recording, is to give your audience a picture of yourself and the voice that goes along with it. So what we're going to do in the next video is we're going to walk through screen recording on Windows, and then later on we'll walk through screen recording on a Mac. Later on in the training we'll get to using your iPhone or your iPad to make the screen recording, but I have a whole different category for that. So we'll get to that in just a second.